Okay, we're going live. It's preparing.
Okay. Oh, I see.
Hey, it says we're live streaming. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
This is Cheryl Ciecko from avoidingmold.com, and I have on with me today Kristin Gioia. That's how you say her last name. And she is a health and wellness coach. She works with a chiropractor that I have been seeing, Dr. Lisa DeAramo, who I see Kristin there all the time, and I end up talking to her for an hour after my appointment. So she's been very interesting to talk to, and I wanted to hear more about her role and her quest to move forward. She's been training to be a health and wellness coach, so we're going to talk about that. And she's also working on a detox program that some of you may be interested in trying. I did sign up to try it myself. I haven't done it before, but Kristin has, and I think her whole office has, so she's going to tell us about that. So anyway, welcome, Kristin. It's so nice to have you here.
Thank you.
The office I'm going to is in Hinsdale, Illinois. And, but where are you located? Are you in the Hinsdale area as well? Or that's the office, obviously.
Yeah, I'm just located in Palos Heights, which is
Okay.
about a little bit south of Hinsdale.
Uh-huh. And so I want to know more about your background. I know from our brief conversations, which have actually been really long, that you just finished a coaching program, and that this is the goal. And so I want to hear more about that and how you came to be doing this.
Well, I've been really interested in health for a long time. I've had many health issues, and I started trying to figure out what was causing my health issues, what I needed to do for myself to heal myself. So throughout this whole course, I've just been learning and educating myself on how to take care of myself. And so through COVID, and we have all this downtime, I was thinking, boy, I should get a better education. Since I talk so much about health, why don't I get an education in it? So I looked for a program that encompasses everything that I already know and feel, and want to help others know how to do it too. So that's when I looked into the health and wellness coaching, because that kind of encompasses everything. It deals with nutrition, it deals with movement and exercising, and it also deals with stress reduction. So when you combine all those three together, that's when you get the biggest improvement in your health. So that's what I wanted to focus on. And I just decided to dive right in and go ahead and get that license. So it was pretty cool.
So how does one become a health and wellness coach?
What's
involved in that? I know you're working in a doctor's office because that's where I met you, and you have a lot of information. You know a lot.
Yeah.
So
I think I have a huge background in it because I just educated myself a lot. So basically, when I took this course, it was a 6-month course, and it deals with everything, how to coach, but then it deals with background in health issues, what kind of foods people should be eating, what kind of exercises people should be doing, what kind of things they could be doing for stress management, like meditation, mindfulness, breathing exercises. So it teaches you all those modalities. I already had a big background in that. So it was pretty easy for me to do. So I aced most of the tests that I did without even studying, because this is my life. And so I just wanted to have that piece of paper that said, hey, you're a health and wellness coach now. So that's what I went ahead and did it. And so eventually down the road, I'd like to do deeper into nutrition, but I thought this was a good platform to start off at.
Great. And how long have you been working with Dr. Lisa?
About 7.5 years.
Okay. So this is a chiropractor that I've been going to for some detox. For those of you that have seen my rash, my nickel allergy rash that I had recently. If you haven't seen it, go check out my videos from the fall of 2020 or not, because it's pretty embarrassing. But
no, it's beautiful. Look at you. You look
I'm
amazing.
looking a lot better.
You look amazing.
Yeah. So Kristin has seen me, and Dr. Lisa has seen me through this whole thing and has gotten me detoxing. And so actually in getting this stuff out of my system. And so it's been really, really helpful. So when you just would describe your mission, how would you describe your mission, or even the path? So you're doing this through it's Pathways for Health. Is that right?
Pathways Center. Yeah. Pathways Center for Health and Wellness.
Okay. Pathways Center for Health and Wellness. And so you're doing it through that office right now.
Mm-hmm.
And is there a mission overall of the office, or a mission have you decided on a mission for what you're going to be doing? That's the same or different?
Well, what we've noticed over the past years is people aren't getting healthier. People's problems are compounding. So we used to see people in their 30s having issues. And now, sadly, we're seeing 18-year-olds who have 1, 2, 3 autoimmune diseases. And so that's pretty scary when you think about it. So our whole mission, my mission, is to let people understand that they can have control of their health. Health is not something that you get just by going to a doctor. You have control over your own health. And what I would like people to know is that our bodies are this amazing structure that does everything it can to keep us healthy. And usually when we have problems, it's because it's trying to balance things out. And so one thing goes askew because it's trying to balance our body out. So I think our whole mission would be to know that you have control of it. You could do these things. It's not expensive. It just takes effort. It just takes effort. And it's not a huge effort. You know, a lot of people don't want to go on diets. They don't want to change their habits because they think it's too monumental of a task. But the reality is it's not. It's these little steps towards health, and your body responds. So it's either, you know, going out for a walk every day, or starting to drink more water, or adding vegetables into your diet. It's not this huge thing that you need to just get in your kitchen and throw on every food you've ever owned and change everything. Little steps can put you in the right direction. So I think our mission would be to let people know that they need to regain their health, and they could do it by themselves. It's not this mystical thing that only a certain amount of people can do. Everybody has the innate ability to get back to health. Everybody. So if one person can do it, everybody can do it. And, you know, and it's unfortunate that so many people think that it's not within their grasp to have health. And on top of it all, doesn't matter how sick you are either. The body wants to be healthy. So we've seen people who have had catastrophic illnesses regain their health, and you wouldn't even know it. So that's what I would like people to know. They think it's like this, I don't know, spiritual journey you have to go on, and it's too elaborate, and it's not elaborate. It's not challenging. People can do it, and everybody can do it.
Yeah, so it's supporting our immune system and our body's healing itself.
Yeah,
which is a lot of what I'm focusing on. And for everybody out there to know that I have been to probably more than 50 doctors. I know I've been to more than 50 doctors. I started on my health journey in about 2004. And what I have found is it isn't necessarily, there's a lot of really good people out there, like your office, I think is full of those people that are not the big famous, you know, people, but maybe in your neighborhood, or they may be someone that you can confer with remotely, that are really good. They have really good information, and they have really good access to supplements and herbs that might be supportive. And it's always about supporting the immune system. And so part of my journey was was getting some binders that actually, and I tell people this story in consulting calls, and maybe this is a good time to tell about the binder. So I got a binder from you guys that Dr. Lisa actually had recommended, and I couldn't tolerate it. I actually couldn't. It was good for me. I needed it, but I couldn't tolerate it. And it was like everything I needed, I couldn't tolerate. And so what we came up with was that I had to actually open the capsules and take just a quarter of a capsule. So I had these little piles of dust, on a little plate in my bathroom that I would scoop in a quarter of a capsule into some water and drink it. And that's all I could tolerate initially. And so it can be a very slow start, but knowing that, that even if the body says it doesn't want to do something that it needs to do, there may be a way, and there is, I believe, a way to get started anyway.
Oh yeah.
And
yeah, definitely.
So do you have a personal story behind your interest in the health and wellness, or do you feel like you grew up being inspired to
No.
be healthy and focus on all this natural healing? And
No, I was, my health journey started in my 20s. I was in the hospital for pancreatitis. I was in the ICU. And while I was in the ICU for a week, I discovered that I have Graves' disease, which is a hyperthyroid disease. So it's an autoimmune disease. So what happened is that I was in the middle of having kids, and I didn't want to do the radioactive iodine to burn off my thyroid. So I opted for surgery instead. And so I had 97% of my thyroid removed. And then I was going to go live on Levoxyl for the rest of my life. And throughout the course of my healing process, I found a doctor who said to me, I think you have allergies. And she's a Chinese doctor and Chinese medical doctor. And I said, allergies? I don't think so. No one's ever told me I have allergies. And she's like, I could tell by looking at you, you're allergic to gluten and milk, and you should stay off of them. And she's like, do you have migraines? And I said, yeah, I have migraines. She's like, do you have a thyroid issue? And I said, yeah. She's like, well, then you have these allergies. So from that point on, I stopped eating any gluten, any dairy. I started getting acupuncture. I started working on my gut issues because obviously there was a problem causing inflammation, causing my migraines. And throughout the course of doing that, giving up gluten and dairy, my migraines became less and less and less. And then when I went to see my endocrinologist, my thyroid was starting to work again. And it was starting to work. And I needed less and less and less Levoxyl. And then after like 3 or 4 years of being off of gluten, my thyroid started working again, and I don't need any medications.
So you didn't have surgery?
I did have surgery.
Oh, you did have the surgery, but so you had what was left of your thyroid?
Yeah. So right now I have between 1% and 3% of a thyroid. So I have this itty bitty little thing, but what's so amazing is that it's doing the job of somebody's normal thyroid. So my body is producing thyroid hormone in this itty little bitty sliver of a thyroid because I worked on my gut. I worked on my gut health. I worked on my inflammation, and I got my inflammation down. My autoantibodies used to be over 900, and now they're under 100. So yes, so that helped me on my journey, and I don't suffer from migraines anymore. I have no migraines. I don't get headaches. I don't get bloating. I don't get stomach aches. And that really propelled me into my health and really focusing on a lot more things that I just used to just not listen to and not pay attention to.
So is it just gluten and dairy, or are there other things that you try to avoid?
I try to avoid sugar as much as possible. And I don't really like
sugar, right?
Processed sugar. Mm-hmm. And I don't like to eat a lot of packaged food. So my whole thing is whole food. So if vegetables, great. Meat, I eat all the meat. that's great. But when it comes to like packaged foods, processed foods, I try to avoid those. And so I don't eat dairy. I don't eat gluten. I don't like to eat a lot of rice and carbs too. So I eat them, but not in abundance. I eat them in small little things. My main focus is on meat and vegetables. That's where I get all my nutrition from. Because here's the thing is what we've forgotten is that people think calorie is a calorie. So any calorie you put in your mouth is the same, and it's not. We need to know that you need to eat nutrient dense foods. So foods that provide your body with vitamins and minerals and work on different areas of your body. That's the most important thing. And that's where you get your most health from.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, actually my husband had Graves' disease too, and they wanted to take his thyroid out. And he didn't end up doing it. He kept it, and they said, okay, well, you can try, and
Yeah.
he isn't on any medication anymore, and his thyroid is working, but he also had to stop eating gluten and dairy.
Yeah.
And then we don't have processed food or processed sugars generally.
See?
He totally does sometimes. Have a random chocolate of some sort, but
yeah.
And my autoimmune was the same way. So I had lupus and Sjogren's syndrome, and I had the migraines, and then I was on some really heavy hitting drugs, which I think trashed my gut, which is part of the reason why I'm continuing to work on gut stuff. But I think it was the drugs. And so I started realizing that my stomach things weren't working the way that they used to have worked. And I knew I was taking drugs that were really intense. And I started reading the pamphlets and thinking, oh my God, I'm going to die of this drug.
Yes. It's scary.
Yeah. And so I went to the doctor, and they're like, okay, so where's this going? And I went to I was at Northwestern, I was at University of Chicago, I was at Rush, I had doctors in all these places. Okay, where are we going with this? Nowhere. We weren't going anywhere. I'm just going to take all this stuff for the rest of my life. And maybe my liver was going to fail or my kidneys, but oh well, side effect of, all this stuff. And the migraine was really a challenge because most of the drugs for migraines didn't work for me. And the ones that did were super expensive, where it would be like the health and the insurance would say I could have 7 a month of these pills, but I had a migraine almost every day.
Oh my gosh.
How can I function on 7?
No, I know.
And then I was loopy, and I didn't like the way I felt on them. And so, so I just it was like jumping off into the deep end of the pool and saying, okay, I'm going to try some other things. I don't know where this is going to lead. And that was 2004. So we're, over 15 years later, and I am still working on things.
No, but you look amazing.
It doesn't end, but I don't take any medication of any kind. And,
no.
and I can't live a mostly normal life other than I'm still working on stuff with my gut. And that brings me to this detox thing that, so when I was at the office recently and we were talking about it, and I did sign up for it. So, but there it is. So you want to talk about that, what you're going to be doing in case it is something people can do remotely, I believe.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So it's like a 14-day detox. It's from this company, Numedia, which is an awesome company. We love the products that they have. A lot of their products are more bioavailable to the body. So they have vitamin D, they have liposomal C, and it really, really is, you get better results with it in the body. So they have this 14-day detox, which everybody in the office did. My husband did it too. And we all found amazing results to where it got rid of the bloating. It cleaned out all that gunk. It really helps to detox the liver too. So it got rid of all that gunk. It did a lot of amazing things for us. It got my sleep pattern to this amazing pattern where I don't even need my alarm clock anymore. I just wake up, and it's like, so, and it
wake up at a normal time. So I wake up at 4 o'clock.
No. I wake up like this morning. I just popped out of bed at 7, and it was like, boom, I'm up. And so it also helped, sometimes you feel heaviness in your gut. and you can't describe what it is. It's like you haven't eaten, but you still feel that heaviness. Well, this got rid of all of that heaviness in your gut, around your midsection. Everybody lost weight around their midsection, which is the best part to lose the weight from. And and so it's always that little extra that we carry around. So everybody did lose weight. Everybody responded very well on it, because usually we'd have like 2 or 3 people who didn't like it. They felt horrible on it. This one, we all felt so good that we wanted to continue it after we were done. And I think I might do it again too, because it wasn't that difficult to follow. You had to eat well. So that means refrain from carbs, refrain from dairy, and refrain from sugar. And then you had a shake in the morning, a shake at lunch, and you had like 4 liver pills that you have to take. But it was tolerated very well by everybody. And you drink a lot of water, but it seemed like it cleaned everything out. We all felt amazing afterwards. And one of the other women who did it there, she had a skin rash on her face that resolved in 3 days. 3 days when she started it.
So you say there's 2 shakes, because we did talk about this, but I want you to explain it again, because I also need a reminder. So you are eating food on this diet.
Oh yeah. So, and actually these shakes are not meal replacements. These are in addition to everything you already eat. So the first shake that you have is like a protein shake. And then for the first week, and then in the afternoon, you do like a greens shake. So you get all your greens in. But I just added it with water. So it wasn't filling. It wasn't replacing any meals. It was in addition to the meals. So you are not deprived at all. I felt like I had plenty to eat. And that's why I like the detox. So many detoxes, it's about depriving you. And it's about, and it's a struggle. And this one was so easy. The only struggle was that you can't drink alcohol on it. So you can't have a glass of wine. And so that was the biggest thing. But other than that, I think I breezed right through it. It gave me more energy. What it did too is like 3 o'clock is that time, that witching hour, to where I get tired in the middle of the day because your cortisol is like coming down. And this, I wasn't tired at all. I didn't get that 3 o'clock sluggish feeling. I had energy throughout the day. And then when it came time for me to go to bed at 10, I was out like a light, and then just woke up, popped up before my alarm went off.
Okay, so an example of what you ate. So, because I actually eat a lot of fruit, or I get full off of not eating very much, especially at the beginning of the day. So what would be an example of, you have the shake before you eat something else?
Yeah, I usually fast in the morning. So I don't usually eat breakfast. I do intermittent fasting. So I usually don't eat anything until probably around noon. But with this, I drank this shake after I worked out. So I probably drank the first shake, which was a protein shake. I probably drank that around 11 o'clock. And then I ate my lunch. And then I had.
What did you have for lunch? Or typically, examples?
Typically, I have a gross lunch, which I call it, because I like to throw everything into a pan and saute all the vegetables that I could figure out. So I usually have onions, green peppers. I'll probably take cucumbers and have a snack of cucumbers and hummus. And so I'll saute all these vegetables and then throw in whatever meat I have around, either chicken or beef, or sometimes even eggs, just so I could get some good protein in there too. I call it like a mishmash. I just throw everything in there. And I always tell people, don't look at what I'm eating because it looks disgusting, but it's very delicious.
And what do you cook it in?
So I use olive oil. I use clarified butter, which is ghee. So I like to do that too. And then my other little secret is coconut aminos. I like to cook with coconut aminos because that's kind of like soy sauce.
Right.
But it'll brown your chicken and give it a little bit of a salty flavor. but it's got your aminos in it, your amino acids. So that's a little bit of extra benefit. So I don't really I don't drown my food either. I like to taste the different things that are coming out. So I just use a little bit of olive oil, nothing crazy. I do like ghee, so the clarified butter gives it another little taste that's kind of interesting. And then sometimes with the amino acids.
Mm-hmm. And then so you have that around, okay, then you had your shake at 11, then you're gonna eat your lunch. Then you have your other shake, and you said like around 3 mid-afternoon.
Yeah, mid-afternoon. And then I have my so my lunch is usually my biggest meal. I usually eat a huge lunch. And then then at that I have that shake around 3 or 4, and then I eat my dinner around 6 or 7 and eat my dinner, and then that was it. That was it for the day. So
And dinner would consist of the same kind of thing, or are you lighter with a salad, or
I like, I'm not a really big cold food person yet. I usually get to the cold foods around summertime when it starts warming up. And so I do more salads and more just fresh foods that I don't saute. But during that time, I think I was cooking a lot of sweet potatoes, and that I just throw in the oven, or I have an air fryer. So we just cut the sweet potatoes up in big chunks and put them in the air fryer with a little bit of seasoning. And then I have that with some chicken or whatever. We love the air fryer.
Air fryer. I've been looking at that at the store, and I was like, how does this work? And
it's really cool.
I'm always looking for ways to cook in a healthier way and to have food be tasty and ideally fast. Is it fast?
Yeah. It does work very well. You get that little crispiness to it. And and I like sweet potatoes in there. We did do broccolini in there, and that turned out very well. And I can't remember what else. We did do chicken, or we did do like chicken wings. And all we did was put different seasoning on them, put them in the air fryer, and that turned out good too. I'm not the big cook. My husband is. So he knows how to spice it up and do all this good thing. So it did work out very well. So I sometimes use the air fryer. I usually just do saute on the stove because that's so quick. Yeah. And it's like, boom, you cut up vegetables, you throw it in there, and you're good.
Yeah. A tip that I had that we did a lot when we do it when we were traveling and when we're staying, not camping. This is not a camping trick, but we would, people always say like, what do you have for breakfast? If it's not like the normal cereal, and because I don't usually eat all those grains and stuff. And so what we would do, we would have kind of like those cut up, whatever vegetables you got, sometimes left over from the dinner before, and maybe mix with a little olive oil or ghee or coconut oil or something very lightly. And you could get up in the morning and you basically can put that in the oven.
Yeah.
325 or 350, go get ready for your day. And in 15, 20 minutes, you come back and you got breakfast. And it was a mind change thing of what is breakfast food? I mean, who decided breakfast food had to be
right?
It could be anything. Breakfast could be dinner food. Breakfast food can be vegetables. And it doesn't have, and it was remarkably not a lot of work. Because we would usually have, maybe you had it cut up from the day before or whatever you had from dinner. We keep it in mind what we're doing for dinner, and how can it be reused quickly for breakfast. But it's actually really fast because you got to go brush your teeth, get dressed, do all this stuff anyway. In 15 minutes is no time. You come back and it's done.
Yeah, that's what we do too. We do dinner, and I eat dinner meals all day long. So I the only breakfast thing I usually eat are eggs. And then everything else is just what I would normally eat for dinner. And I have this, I use this recipe book by Danielle Walker.
Oh, I have her book. I have some books by her too.
I love everything she makes is fabulous. And she had an autoimmune disease, and that's what brought her to it's against all grain. And so she makes a blackened chicken that it's just chicken thighs and probably about 10 different spices, and you just mix it up. And it's not a lot of spice, but it's oh my gosh, it makes my mouth water just talking about it. I made some. I put it all in a bowl, got it together. It's 2 pounds of chicken thighs. I threw it in the oven, took a shower, got ready, and it's done. The smell just radiates through the house. It's so good. My kids love it, and it's quick. And so many people think that they have to put a lot of time and effort into cooking, and there are so many quick fixes. And that's another thing, is that people struggle making good meals just because they don't think that it's possible. But what's awesome is that stores like Trader Joe's and Whole Foods, they have cut up vegetables in like a little container where they do like for stews or soups. I grab those because they're all cut up in little diced. I cut up some chicken, and then I take the container and throw it all in there. And it's not that long at all. It's very easy. So it's like little tricks that you could use, because once you find something that works, you go for it, and you get a variety, and you keep going on that path, and it's not as hard. It's not as hard as people put into it.
Right. It's changing the mindset around what we think that we need to eat, and that what we think is easy and challenging, that maybe there are other things that are actually easy that we could do that might be more healthy. And I think in this toxic world that we're in, and that might be causing a lot of this stuff. And of course, I'm in that space of the mold exposure. So it's air, but also exposure, my nickel allergy, heavy metals. We have all kinds of things that we get exposed to, pesticides, that the cleaner we can be, the more we can eliminate toxins, the more we're basically rebuilding and supporting our immune system so that we can fight all these other bad things that are around.
Oh, no, definitely. It's like, you're fixing your body so it can handle constant barrage that we get everywhere. So if your immune system is healthy, it doesn't matter if there's viruses out there. It doesn't matter if there's all, junk everywhere. If your body can handle things and you clean out your body, it's resilient. It's going to handle things that come their way. And it's not saying you're never going to get sick, but you're never going to get sick like other people get sick. Like this one virus that was going around, I got sick around the same time my cousin got sick. And we were discussing the horrible symptoms of it. And his symptoms were the same as mine. And he's like, how long did it last for you? And I said, about 48 hours. And then I was better. He was sick for 2 weeks. And so it's not that you're not going to get sick. It's just your body's able to handle it and then move on from it. And that's what I find the most fascinating. And, we have to remember, we have to give our body credit. Our body knows what to do for the most part. That's why it gives you all these symptoms. That's why these migraine, you have to remember, why am I getting a migraine? Why? It's not some rando thing that people get. You have to ask yourself, and I have trained my kids like this. They get a headache. I always ask them these questions. What have you eaten today? Did you get enough water? And did you get enough sleep? And now I've trained them so much that they already said, I don't know why I have a headache. I drank enough water. I slept well last night, and I didn't eat any junk. So I don't understand what's going on. So you train people to realize this. And typical people aren't supposed to have stomach aches every day. They're not supposed to be bloated. We're supposed to function. I mean, if you remember our grandparents, they functioned into their 80s, and they weren't ill all the time.
Right.
And so,
they didn't grow up though eating what we grew up eating.
That's
huge. I definitely, the TV dinner, introduction, it was, every time my father was out of town, we all got to pick our own TV dinner out of an aluminum pan with all this processed stuff, had a little dessert in the little square for the desserts, and everybody got to eat what they wanted of processed food. And but our grandparents didn't grow up with that. I don't think mother didn't grow up with that. No. And it was very fun and felt like very freeing, but there was also then like, this new thing called margarine. And then more and more the pesticides are coming in, and that now wow, everybody needs probiotics now, and everybody has autoimmune diseases and cancer is growing and all this stuff. So to go back to the roots. So how can people find out about this detox or join you on so you're doing like a certain time when you stop and start and you're supporting people, is that correct?
Yeah. So what we're doing is that we're going to kick it off on May 3rd with a Zoom call that we could answer questions, kind of like give you the trajectory of how it goes. That's why we had so many people in our office do it. So, because another detox we did around day 3, we all experienced the same symptoms. And this one, we pretty much all experienced the same thing at the same time. So to give people an indication of what to expect. Also, when you sign up, we're going to do an email every day for the 14 days, and it's going to give tips on recipes. So it'll give you awesome recipes, also quick, easy things to do, easy things to throw in there and eat, and then also motivational stuff as well. So, so if you wanted to go to our website for Pathway Center, it's www.Dr. Lisa Lisa Duramo DERAMO.com, or you could call us. I'm always at the front desk and I could talk to anybody, and you can email me too at front desk at pc4hw.com. And I'm always there. I always answer everybody's questions. So you could contact me, or you could call me too. 630-323-2400. You can call me anytime too. Okay. I'm a talker, so I have no problem.
I've experienced that. You're very fun. You're very fun to talk to, Kristin, and I always enjoy. You're the highlight of my coming and going and my appointments, I think. And we get off on these tangents, whether it's kids or politics or what's going on in the neighborhood, or food and ideas. I mean, I use the same cookbooks, and I would say that it was absolutely critical for us as a family to change our diet was to have cookbooks. And I'm looking for the ones that have like not many ingredients, so you look through and you go, hey, this one's only got 4 ingredients. We can make this. For the simpler, the better. But over time, you start to learn how it works and how you don't need processed stuff. But I definitely had to start with cookbooks, and I have quite a few that I got. I didn't spend a lot of money. Sometimes you get them at Walmart or Kmart or
half price books too.
Yeah, that kind of thing. Or Costco. I bought some of my early ones, and but yeah, and then clean out the pantry.
Oh yeah.
Point in having anything that's going to tempt you. So this detox starts May 3rd. And if anybody's interested, I'll put the details in the comments once I am back onto Facebook versus this, so that you guys can know where to go. But yeah, you can do it from anywhere, correct?
Yeah, you can do it anywhere, anytime. Because we're going to say
will be recorded, and you're going to send a link.
Yeah, and you don't have to start at May 3rd. But you would be able to have all the emails and all the other information along with it. So it's not a hard day to start on May 3rd. You don't have to do it. You could do it anytime you want. And then too, I'll probably do it like twice a year, so that it's a good idea to get cleaned out every once in a while. So do it twice a year. And then after you get old hat at it, you won't need any instructions, and you could do it on your own, and it's pretty easy to follow. And it's a very good detox.
Okay. So I have some questions. Is there anybody that shouldn't be taking this, or that you would say it's not a good fit if you are what?
I think people pretty much know if they could do this or not. I really think that if you have a lot of health issues, maybe not. Just because I don't want to add insult to injury, because then you're detoxing. Also, something is like, if you're in the process of, you have liver medications or other kind of meds, you got to ask your doctor first if that's okay for you to do that, because that might be too stressful on you. So it's like, we had people, I'm going to say the majority of the people that we work with are pretty much on the healthier side. So we all tolerated it very well. But yeah, and you know what too, I could tell you this too. There's 4 liver pills that you take. So you got to play around with things. You have to listen to your body and how it responds to stuff. And the 4 liver pills were too much for me to take because you're supposed to take them in the morning. I had to space it out, do 2 in the morning and 2 in the afternoon. Kind of irritated my stomach a little bit. So I had to divvy them up. And once I did the 2 and 2, I was fine. So I would say you have to be in somewhat general normal health. I wouldn't give it to somebody. We have a lot of people who are on a lot of different meds. So you would have to speak with your GP if that's okay. Just because if you're on a lot of meds, this is a liver, it's going to draw things out of your liver. And you know, all the meds go through your liver. So it's going to draw out of your liver. So that you would have to check out with the GP.
Okay, good to know. May not be for everyone, but if you are on the healing side of recovery,
Yeah.
feeling good, it may be a good thing to try. What about coffee? Tea? Do you have any thoughts about those things?
Yeah, you could do both. You could do coffee and tea on both. That was sorry, that was why we like this detox, because everybody's a coffee drinker at my office, and I just have to have 1 cup a day. I mean, come on, 1 cup. So I was grateful that I had that 1 cup a day. No dairy, so you can't do creamer in it, and no sugar in it either. But I mean, you get that little bit of caffeine, and then you're golden.
All right, so all my moldies following here, just, you always have to adapt it to your situation. And I will say that if you are being exposed to something externally due to poor air quality, always be careful. But I have found that in my family, at least, the people that weren't that affected by the mold, even if they were a little affected, or my children, as they were going through college and they would have effects of moldy apartments, that if they could eat well, and if they could do some exercise, but really focus on their diet and eliminate, actually even the alcohol they had to eliminate, but focus on taking good care of their diet and the food that they were eating, that they could withstand more than if they didn't. And we certainly had let's try it without being healthy eating. And then there's this big crash and burn, and then the crying phone call, or the really poor situation where, it's like, okay, well, all right. So let's try to regroup here. But most of us as human beings, I think we need to make mistakes to realize that we need to change paths and do something else. And say, certainly people would say, I don't eat gluten and dairy either, but I love pizza. I would love to have pizza. And every time that I've had pizza, I end up with a problem. So even though I'm tempted now, I can now look back at all the problems, or I get brain fog, and I'm like, okay, what do I have going on 3 days? Is it worth the trade-off? And eventually it becomes not worth the trade-off, but it can take a while to start feeling better.
No, that's huge. It's cost and benefit. So it's the same thing. I used to suffer from migraine. So is that bread really worth having a horrible migraine? And it's not worth it anymore to me. I did have some Chinese food last night, which I hardly ever did. And I woke up this morning not feeling 100%. And so I said, well, Chris, you did it to yourself. You have to realize that, it's good in the moment. It tastes really good in the moment, but even that's not worth it to me anymore. So I was like, see, you do this. Why? And why do you do this? And it's the same way. And you know what? Everybody goes through their struggles. My sister-in-law was diagnosed with fibromyalgia. And I said, you probably need to get off gluten. Let's get off gluten. And because I read her the little thing in Wheat Belly that talked about partial paralysis and the pins and needles. And she said, that's it. I'm stopping gluten right here and there. Well, 3 days in, she called me crying hysterically, saying she couldn't do it. Her kids are eating pizza and she just wants to grab a piece of pizza. And I said, gluten is almost like a drug. it pulls you back in. And the same with sugar, it kind of pulls you back in, and it tries to tempt you, and it wants you to eat it. And I had to tell her, it is. And I said, it's like you're an addict right now. And we took away your drug. And of course you're going to experience something horrible, but the benefits outweigh this moment. Please just push through. And I've been gluten-free for 12 years. She's been gluten-free, and gluten-free means we don't eat gluten-free food all over the place. We just eat whole foods. And she's been gluten-free for 9 years. So
she got better from her fibromyalgia?
She is 75% better being gluten-free. And she resolved all of her symptoms. She no longer has that tingling. At one point, she thought she had MS, and the doctors thought she might have MS. And so these things have resolved. She's functioning. She's, I mean, you know, you can't, if you get that feeling in your 30s and you don't, if you go that other route, how are you going to get, you have to get your health back. And what's to look forward to in your 30s, if you don't change drastically, you know, what's going to be the outcome? So she did that, and she's healthy as can be. And her and I feed off of each other, and we give each other recipes, and we help each other out. And it's been really good. It really helps when you have a supportive person. Like my husband and I are gluten-free. So we're gluten-free together. He doesn't need to be gluten-free, but he chose to do it so we can help each other. So he doesn't eat gluten either. And so it helps a lot when you have support of other people.
Yeah, no, my husband is the same way. And but I would say that if I'm in a situation, I either that other people are eating something it's hard for me to avoid, you know, to pay attention. I get something to drink, and I might walk away for a few minutes and come back, or I just cannot look. It's better to not look. So anyway, so thank you, Kristin. So this is Kristin Gioia with Pathway Center for Health. And the website again was www.drlisa, Lisa, Lisa, Deramo, DERAMO.com.
Yes.
If you'd like to reach out at front desk at, what's the front desk email address?
Front desk at PC, P as in Peter, C as in Charles, the number 4, H as in Henry, W as in Walter.com. And that's me. I'm usually always there at the front desk. So you can email at any time, and we're there to see it. We're there to help. We want people to be healthy above everything else. Above everything else, we want people to be, we want this movement of health. That's our main goal, is to get people as healthy as possible.
Yeah, and you guys are doing a great job. And the phone number, one last time.
630-323-2400.
Okay, I'll put that in the notes when we're done. And any other final thoughts, or you know, congratulations on doing this. I know this is, you know, the first time that you guys are bringing this out to the public, and that's why I wanted to help and give you guys the opportunity to share it with my audience and talk about it. And how much is it? That's a big.
The whole thing is $200.
Yeah. Okay. So we're not breaking the bank here, folks. And that's including, you know, getting in the emails, and like you said, you could do it at any time, which I haven't decided yet if we're going to be traveling. So I'm not sure if I'm going to do it, but the fact that you can eat actually makes it pretty, not that hard.
Yeah. I mean, I went out to dinner while I was doing this detox. So it's not like you're confined to your home. You can't go out and eat, you know, when there's a birthday party. I celebrated a birthday party with my sister-in-law, and we went out to dinner, and I was able to stay the course. And so it's not like you're really not being able to go and do everything. You're able to eat, you're able to do all this other stuff. So it's not that difficult. You don't feel deprived.
Good. Well, I like that. So
yeah, that's a good thing.
Yeah. So I'm going to try to put the link to brochure too, the pamphlet that you had
Okay.
made. And so it starts May 3rd if you want to do it with the support of the group and do it remotely. And yeah, so thank you so much for being on and for sharing this information. And if anybody is looking for a new health coach,
Yeah.
getting going, and I highly recommend her. So good luck, and thanks a lot for being here.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. It was awesome.
See you next time. Bye.
Bye.